Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Geek Cause podcast.
Episode 7?
Episode 7 of the Geek Cause podcast.
Only 3 more till 10.
3 more till 10, and then we'll be in the double digits, and it's like we're famous or something.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
That's how. Yeah, once you hit the double digits, that's how you know that you've really made it as a, you know.
I knew it.
Yeah, did you? I mean, it's not what you were saying. Kyle was saying that the next podcast is going to be the downfall of us all. Tomorrow, specifically tomorrow, whenever you're listening to this, whether it's like the next day after we put this up, or if it's like a year from now, tomorrow from then, it's the end of the podcast. Yeah. So, sad day indeed.
Really sad day.
Kyle, this last week has been an eventful one.
It has.
More so probably for me in terms of family.
Probably.
Yeah. But go ahead and let's hear how your week. Hear how your week is. Let's start off with the tried and true method of figuring out your week that usually is very mediocre, and then you transition it into me.
Thank you for making me feel really good about that.
I'm just saying you are a very boring person.
I am.
In your real life. You obviously don't do much.
Yeah. So, my life is boring until I do something, and then it's great.
That's exactly, yeah, that sounds about right.
And then it's really cool, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's just like peaks and then plummets.
one cool point that you can talk about, and then you go down into this nothingness.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fine.
But yeah, week's been pretty good. Had a very eventful weekend. I had Comic-Con on Saturday, which was pretty fun. You nearly died. That was great.
I nearly died from Friday night escapades. I'll just say that. Friday night escapades led to a near-death experience in Dublin Comic-Con, yes.
Yeah. He was hungover.
I was something. I don't know if I'd call it hungover. I'd call it on another plane of existence.
But yeah, then on the Sunday we had a nice family shindig where, again, there was just lots of food and drinking, singing, dancing.
And dancing and shouting and
screaming and
I don't know what the word is. I'm trying to think. Slurring of words.
Oh, lots of slurring, lots of like hiccups mid-sentence.
Yeah. lots of love.
Oh yeah.
Lots of hate.
It was great.
It's just a good time.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
I mean, it's what you want when you have a family get together. A lot less punching than I thought there'd be, so that's good.
Yeah, it's usually a bit of a coin flip. It could go either way.
But other than that, I mean, hey, tell us, since we said we would give a little talk about it, let's real quick kind of tell everyone your opinions on Comic-Con this year.
Comic-Con this year, I think you should go first because I have a pretty pointed opinion on it.
Okay, that's fair.
I've been to it before, so I'm gonna draw comparisons and contrast.
Yeah, that's fair. So I guess I'll just go from my perspective. Well, first, whatever Kyle said about how his week was, that's pretty much how mine is going to be. I just had more of it, more family stuff. Yes, Friday night was a tragic event, but it was fun. So I guess I'll forgive it for the time, but in future reference to myself when I listen to this podcast, maybe not go so hard to the paint when you're down at the pub down the road again. Thanks, Cody. I appreciate it.
Note to self.
Other than that, though, I got a Discord server set up for our podcast. Well, just for the Geek Cause in general. Now, it does have the episodes to our podcasts on there, and it does have things related to that we do when it comes to content-wise. But also, it's just a place where people can hang out, talk about different things, video games, movies, and stuff like that. And also where they can just have voice channels to play games and stuff and just hang out and do whatever. So if you want to check that out, there will be a link in the description here. And yeah, that's cool. Also, I got a Mixer stream page up.
Oh, did you?
And I'm going to start streaming
on Mixer.
Yeah, shameless self-promotion. I am set up on Mixer. The account name is The Geek Cause -Cody. There'll also be a link for it to make it easier for you. And my favorite thing about it is my channel info or whatever. When you look at it, what it says. Let me see if I can bring it up for you real quick. All right, so yeah, the info for it is the #1 best streamer out of everyone in the Geek Cause, the 2-person gaming podcast. So, like, I really wanted to emphasize how amazing of a streamer I am, but because it's only good in relation to, you know, the podcast.
Yeah. And there's only 2 of us.
So, the best out of everyone in the Geek Cause.
Wow. That is as good as you thought it was. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so if you want to check that out, it's like mixer.com/thegeekcause-Cody. Like I said, there'll be a link to it. I have the schedule on there, but the times are going to be from Sunday at 3 p.m. my time, Irish time, or 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Irish time, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be just a great time for everybody. Well,
what type of stuff are you going to play?
It's going to be a variety stream mostly. I'll be doing a lot of different games, but I'm thinking of starting off with some teamfight tactics, because I know that that's kind of what a lot of people are interested nowadays, is a little auto chest battlers. Plus, I like playing it, but now it'll give me a reason to play it more instead of just like dabbling in it and pretending that I'm good. Now I can actually try to get better at it. I've thought about if I can, you know, if I feel like biting the bullet and paying that $15 a month playing WoW Classic when it comes out. That'll be a good time sink.
You know you totally are, though.
I want to so bad.
You know you are.
But yeah, it's gonna be a bunch of different stuff. I might play some Diablo on there. Might play some. I might play that. That noise that I made. I'm just gonna play that noise, and I'm just gonna talk over it, and it's gonna be 3 hours straight of me doing that.
And it's just gonna be like just a video file on screen.
Yeah,
you'll have like the face come down the corner, but you'll be acting like you're playing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is awesome. I love this game. I don't know. I'll play I'm up for anything, new or old. It's. I gotta test it all out some more, but I think I got everything set up enough where when Sunday, because I'll start this Sunday, and once it comes around, if you want to join us, it's gonna be fine. So 2 days after this podcast is out, you'll be seeing me streaming. If you join the Discord, you should get auto notified from the Discord whenever I go live. So it's gonna be awesome.
Plus, you'll probably be in there yelling about it anyways.
Yeah. Exactly. Just want to point out real quick, though, while I have Kyle right here, I'm holding him down, I can't help but notice that you haven't joined our Discord server for the podcast yet.
I know.
Someone who is an admin on it and needs to help promote these things, and you still haven't even joined it yourself.
There's how many people in there now?
We already got
4, 5,
7? 6?
7, including you.
Yeah, there you go. And
I'm not even in there yet.
You're not even in there yet? It's actually disgraceful. Anyways, enough about me and all the great things that I did. Let's talk about Comic-Con real quick. For me, first time being to a Comic-Con, I've been to there's this con called Youmacon in Detroit that happens during the fall. But other than that one, I've never been to another con, and this is the first Comic-Con. It was really packed. There's tons of people. It was definitely like a big event. There wasn't, and I think I'm guaranteeing that Kyle's probably going to touch on this. There wasn't a lot of interactive stuff, but there were a crap ton of vendors. There's so many vendors, and they all had like really good stuff. There's a place where you could get tattooed. There's a place for food. There was places where you could play video games, but it looked like most of the gaming systems were set up with Fortnite, which, you know, whatever.
I thought that was your favorite game, though.
Yeah, that's one that I probably won't play on stream. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not into the Fortnite.
No, you don't think me and you should hop on Fortnite duos?
I don't. No, I don't. I'd rather duo anything else.
And try beating Ninja on Mixer.
Yeah. No, I don't. That seeing him even he's not even good by like competitive standards, and yet I still would never want to go up against him when I watch him play.
Never.
So yeah, but anyways, there's, they had like gaming set up. They had stuff for board games and card games and stuff like that all the way at the top floor. Overall, I think that it was very busy. Obviously, there's a lot of people cosplaying. Most of it was anime related stuff, but there were some other things. But it was cool. I thought it was entertaining, even with me being a little poorly. It was still
a little.
It was still a really interesting time. It was fun. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was kind of fun seeing all this stuff and seeing a couple of the cosplayers. It was like, whoa, you spent way too much time on what you're doing, and everyone was just having a good time, and it seemed cool. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd go again, but I think I would go only if I had the money to actually get some of the not the stuff that you can buy anywhere, because there's a lot of the stuff that you could buy off of Amazon there as well. But I would go to the actual artist alley place and probably
just buy a bunch of prints.
Yeah, get a bunch of stuff that the artists that were there that had booths and actually buy some of those. What about you, Kyle?
Well, this was my 3rd year going to it. I didn't go last year, but I went the 2 years before that. And it was a bit lackluster this year, I think. Definitely more people. Ridiculously more people. Probably the biggest it's been. Because you're looking at maybe 3,000-4,000 people, maybe.
It was nuts.
At any one time. Like when we were leaving, we thought we'd reached like the peak of it. This was about 3 o'clock. But when we were walking down, there was even more people still coming up to go in.
Yeah.
And it was just mad. They were closing doors so they could let people filter out of the rooms because they're at capacity. It was mad. And I think because of that, there was it's better planned out, so there was less stalls. So people had more room, and that just kind of made it feel like there was less gimmicky stuff. There was like your usual con stuff, like your props and your comics and your statues and your merch and stuff like that. But like every other year, they've had like, there's always been 3 or 4 booths that are just really weird. You don't know why they're there, but they are. It's like one year there's a guy who had like just shell casings, like bullets, and he'd engrave whatever he wanted into it, and it was a keyring. So I have a bullet keyring. It's like 44 Magnum round. My gamer tag on it.
Oh, your gamer tag.
Yeah.
Loser.
I know. The first year I went, I bought like a drinking horn.
That's awesome. I have a drinking horn back home.
It's like things like that weren't there, which was kind of disappointing. But as an overall experience, it was definitely better. Because in the earlier years, it was like cramped and hot, and it was really poorly ventilated, and they're just flooding people into these rooms, and you had about as much room as there is between me and Cody right now, which is about a hair.
Right, yeah.
Of space at any given time.
And that's bad. That's bad considering this was the most busy it's been.
Yeah.
But you had years when you've been there where there's less people and it was more cramped.
It was worse, yeah. And there would only be like 1 floor of food and seating.
Which there was 2. There's 2 this year. There's 2 of food, or at least 1.5. Yeah. And then like 2 or 3 of seating.
Yeah, there was just 1 floor that was food and seating.
But that was kind of our sort of one of the gripes we had, though, was that the food and the seating, and then the card games, board games, and like the little gaming section was like split off. So like it went like first floor stalls, second floor vendor stalls, and also like meet and greets. Yeah. And then the 3rd floor was seating with like a tiny bit of food. Then the 4th floor was all food. It was
full on food.
And then the 5th floor was seating.
Yeah.
And then like the gaming was there as well.
Yeah,
which
like
is
the
really
tabletop
weird.
stuff was up at the top. You felt like it would have went like, main hall, 2nd floor, meet and greets, 3rd floor, all your gaming stuff. So you had all the consoles set up and you'd have the VR stuff in the tabletop. But no, they just kind of...
Yeah, you figured that you'd have
They segregated it off.
Maybe they were doing it so that way people didn't have to travel as far to get to the food, but it just didn't make much sense, because then it was like, well, why would I want... Then the only people that were going to do the tabletop stuff were people that specifically went there for the tabletop, to check out the tabletop stuff, which is, there's always... But the thing is they had, like, card events going on. Yeah, like, we looked it up, and, like, there was... if you wanted people to join the tournament events of for Magic, they had like 4 different events that were supposed to be going on where you could like win a bunch of cards, and it looked really fun because you could do your drafts there, and then every time you won, you were like, you stole card packs from other players, so it was kind of like it was like that old school sort of Yu-Gi-Oh kind of almost feel, where you used to be like, yeah, I get your best card, like in the show, I get to choose whatever card I want if I beat you. And then you go through the person's deck and they just be miserable as you're like, oh, you know what I'm taking, your Red Eyes Black Dragon, of course that's what I'm taking. Yeah, that's mine. So like it you know, it had that cool feeling to it, and like, you know, the events that were set up, but they had it so sectioned off that unless you were there for that, you never would have checked it out.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, overall, as an experience, I thought it was definitely worth, like, what, €26?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then the cheapest you could get it for was like 22 or 20.
It was like 22 euro cheapest.
So, I mean, like, for 3-4 hours of checking stuff out, and if we would have went Sunday, we would have actually got like good, like, better talking panels and stuff like that.
Panels and stuff like that.
But I mean, it's still fine for what it was. I can't complain. I spent more
fun.
for less.
Yeah.
So.
It's still a fun day.
So yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think overall it was good. If anybody was there, I mean, what did you think about it? Let us know in the comments. Tell us if you thought it was better or worse if you've been to previous years, and if you would go back again.
I'd definitely go back, though.
Oh yeah, I would too. But on from that, let's actually get to our topics now.
Our actual topics.
And I mean, we have some ones that are quite, they're in depth with certain things, and they have a lot of hit to them. They might not have as much as last week's, where it was a little more controversial.
Last week was hard hitting.
It was very controversial, but it's funny because I actually had quite a few people, you know, talk to me and say, like, after they heard it, and they were like, hey, like, I'm glad that you did that, because it allowed me to get different points for it. It allowed me to, like, understand certain sections.
Same, like, people that I know would come up to me and were saying, like, obviously European people, not Americans.
Yeah.
Would be like, oh, it was actually really interesting hearing about it from an American's point of view, like a first-hand point of view.
Yeah.
Not something you're getting off the media, just a normal person.
Exactly. And someone that's not biased, like, completely biased in the sense of, like, oh, America, we're right on everything. Yeah. It was more like, no, this thing needs to change. So, like, it was cool saying those points, and it was cool getting your, like, perspective as a European, though, like, thinking that you kind of had an understanding more than you thought that you did. And then when you realize, step back and hearing it, like, that's kind of what I heard too, is like, you could tell, they could tell that when you were listening to us, like, they were like, he was really quiet until the end, and then when he gave his kind of point, you could hear how he was like, he almost had a different sort of perspective, but then was kind of thinking, like, I get what these guys are talking about, though. So it was good talking points. We do have something kind of related to that. That's going to be an interesting subject of itself, but
not as heavy, though.
Not as heavy. So if you guys aren't looking for as heavy of a podcast, then this is the episode for you. But going on to that, something that could be pretty controversial, at least to people that are gamers and streamers or stream watchers. So, Kyle, I don't know if you heard. I know that you heard, actually. I don't know why I said that, but I wanted to kind of add an emphasis to it. I don't know if anybody else has heard.
Make it seem dramatic.
But Ninja left to Mixer. We all know that. We talked about that last week. His old Twitch channel was just being used to promote other streamers, right? Well, and that's something that he's always had done. And he's like one of the only streamers that actually happens. Is where they've like, when he wasn't streaming, he was like, his channel would promote other streamers, which is, you know, you think like when he was talking about it, because he kind of went on Twitter and posted a video talking about his perspective of this thing that happened. But pretty much he was saying, you know, I don't mind that they did that. It's whatever. Like, I'm the only one that they did that to, really. So I don't understand why I had to promote all these other channels. But fine, whatever, it happened. And now that I'm on Mixer, they can use my channel for whatever, I guess. If as long as it's like, you know, nothing that bad. Well, on Twitch, there was a channel that started to get really popular streaming, like, or a bit popular without getting closed down, that was streaming porn.
Yeah. Somehow.
Some sort of porn. I don't, like, it didn't go in depth with anything that I've read, like, but it was like pornographic material, pretty much, like stuff that should not have been on Twitch. And it started getting popular, so once that happened, you know, it started to trend a little bit. Twitch while using Ninja's channel to kind of like show off other streamers that are probably in that mid-range of popularity, to try and make them more popular because they're checking out.
Push them out there.
Yeah, we'll use Ninja's streaming channel that he doesn't use anymore to make other like certain people that are kind of up and coming get more popular.
Try find the new Ninja, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll put that out there, and we're actually getting used to his channel. Well, somehow the channel with pornographic material was streaming on Ninja's channel. It ended up getting promoted through Ninja's channel. So a bunch of potential kids that maybe did not know that Ninja was not on Twitch anymore. Maybe they were checked, or maybe some people did check to see like this and saw the other like things being kind of broadcasted on there. And we're like, well, I'll just check out and see if there's someone else that I like that's in the same sort of vein. And they ended up seeing pornography because Twitch never took care of that channel, and then also decided that they'll just, I don't know, stream it on Ninja's old channel.
Yeah.
So all of these parents and then all these other people that just really didn't want to see this, all they see is Ninja's channel, Ninja's face, and porn streaming. So it was quite a bit of controversy related to that.
Yeah. Apparently the system works off like just viewership. I don't think there's someone at Twitch that specifically picks the channels that appear. I think it's just when your channel gets like a flare of viewership, it has a chance of being brought up on the promotion screen. And people just obviously went to that channel, and it was enough to bring it up on the promotion screen. They
were checking out the pornography channel, some because they're probably like, ooh, porn, and then others probably like, I can't believe this is on here. Why is this on here? Trying to figure out how to get it, like, it shouldn't have, because it should never have gotten as far as it did.
Oh, no.
Based on what I've read.
And I'm sure there's some people that were like going to the channel to just try to go on the promotion page.
Yeah, or like, try to see if Ninja was like somehow streaming, because if you see, the channel's showing Ninja, like it would show his channel on some places, like, Ninja's streaming, because it's showing that he's promoting, and then you go to it, and then you would see like other channels being promoted, except for one of the other channels was porn. So Ninja ended up being, rightfully upset about all this because it paints a negative image to him, and now
like, it's his brand pretty much,
and now like his brand on Twitch could be like potentially ruined forever, regardless if he's ever going to go on there.
Yeah.
So the Twitch aspect of it, people probably don't want anything to do with him now. The people that saw that, so he's losing, because let's be honest, at least half of his viewership that was on Twitch were kids.
Oh yeah,
they're kids.
Over half, the large majority.
Yes. And so seeing that would make it so over half now not affiliated with that. So if anything were to happen and he somehow come back to Twitch, I mean, he would already be losing half of his viewership because of that. And then regardless if he ever went back to Twitch or not, his brand is tarnished now because there's porn. I mean, he had to release kind of an apology video.
Yeah, he
for something that he had no control.
Sorry for something he didn't even do.
Something that he didn't do, something that was promoted without him, even giving his permission to do it. Because, like, Twitch never even asked to promote stuff through his channel.
No, and he said that him and his team just kind of let it slide.
Because they were like, whatever, it's not hurting us. Yeah. And if they want to promote stuff on the channel, then fine, I'm not using it anyway.
Like, they thought it was weird, but it was kind of like, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
We have no control over it anyways.
Exactly.
But then this happened.
So now he has to completely shut down his channel on Twitch. He's trying to now.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want something like that to happen again. And of course, I mean, like, full right to him. Like, yes, they should shut that down, despite what Twitch wants. That they should shut down that channel, because now that he's got a negative association to his brand because of Twitch.
It's almost sealed the deal that he's probably never going to go back.
No. I mean, why would he? When you have something like that happen, and then them just say, we're sorry. And then, like, you're like, all right, well, left a bad taste in everyone's mouth as well, like all the parents anyways, that have no idea how streaming even works.
Yeah.
So all they saw was probably Ninja streaming porn. So it's just it's a really bad situation. I don't understand, how Twitch allowed it to get as far as it did,
Yeah. And even when he first, left, like you have on the screen at the moment, they had the Super Mario joke whenever he went onto his channel. That says the ninja you're looking for is in another castle.
And yeah, based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like it was...
It was straight up porn.
Yeah. It was straight up porn. Literally, and when it's stuff related to Ninja and seeing that, it's literally like, how?
Like, you're looking at it here, it's like Fortnite, porn.
Yeah. porn with 14.4 thousand views.
Nice.
So, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And apparently, like, based on the updates, they finally reverted his channel back to looking like an offline page instead of using it to promote other stuff. But pretty much, what it was too. Even if you looked for his, like, if you went to his channel or looked for his channel, it would say something like saying, like, the ninja you're looking for is in another castle. Check out these other popular live channels, and then you just see porn. Yeah. It's like, oh, great. Yeah, no, cool.
That's exactly what you wanted to see.
So, I don't know. Overall, I guess final thoughts on this is just Twitch did a bad, and it made Ninja, like, it hurt his brand a little bit, and also probably made him never want to go back to Twitch with someone them doing something like that.
I feel like Twitch kind of shot themselves in the foot with it.
I mean, it's their faults. They're going to have to be the ones that deal with any ramifications for it, and it shouldn't be him. I mean, he's just a streamer. He doesn't control that sort of stuff.
And he doesn't care. He's making great money from Mixer, probably.
Buku bucks.
Buku bucks.
Buku bucks.
That's a new one. But anyways, speaking of streaming, and I don't know if he streams on Twitch, but the
he was streaming on Twitch, I believe.
Was he 16?
16-year-old Bugha.
Good old Bugha, the player who won the Fortnite World Cup, has been swatted while streaming.
Yikes. Imagine winning $3 million and then getting swatted.
Here I was thinking swatting was becoming a thing of the past. It's been a while since I've heard about it. It hit someone very mainstream, but apparently he was in the middle of a Fortnite game, like, late game.
Yeah.
Where you're getting into, like, serious game mode.
Crucial end of the match moment.
His father tells him that there's armed police at the door. Just imagine being a 16-year-old kid and you're sitting up playing Fortnite, streaming it, and your dad walks in and goes, "There's armed police at the door."
I mean, and just for the people that don't know exactly, kind of define swatting for him real quick.
Swatting is the act of calling the police on someone while they're streaming and informing them that they have, a firearm or a bomb or something.
Or they've killed someone, or they have kidnapped somebody.
Something serious enough to have a SWAT team raid their house.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Luckily for good old Bugha, it seemed to go a little bit better than it has for most people, because apparently one of the cops lived in his neighborhood. Yeah, knew him.
Yeah, lived in his neighborhood, knew him, and then plus most of the people you would assume probably know the kid in the neighborhood.
Because he's the kid who won $3 million playing video games.
Exactly.
So I think he got fairly lucky, because in a lot of other players' cases, when they get swatted, it's very much door kicked down. It's, they treat it like an actual situation.
I mean, there's been times, it's terrible. There's been times, though, like, when people would go in and, they kick the doors down, and then they'd, like, pretty much beat the shit out of the people because they don't know the situation. They want to figure out what's going on. One guy was shot and killed from it.
Yeah.
So, like, you're 16 years old and you get swatted. Like, yeah, you were lucky this time and you had just a simple conversation and you could come back to stream. But there was a really, really big chance that wouldn't have been the case.
Like, it could go really bad really quickly.
I mean, you think in this day and age that we would realize that this shit's not funny, right?
Yeah, especially with the state, like, America's in at the moment.
Yeah, then, like,
if you report someone for a certain thing, it could be just the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Yeah, and it could be something that's taken it's taken way too seriously because of all the other stuff that is actually happening. I mean, if someone would have called and said, like, there's an active shooter in the area, just going into people's houses and shooting them, like, that might not have been something that Bugha walked away with.
Yeah.
The next headline we might have seen from him wouldn't have been, after 16-year-old wins $3 million, the next headline could have been Bugha dead in a terrible swatting accident.
Yeah, it's like, because certain things like that, SWAT teams and police take liberties in their own protection and the protection of others.
Right.
So if a certain crime is reported, like, if someone is deemed dangerous, immediately dangerous, so like an active shooter or it's a live kidnapping or hostage situation, they'll go in with, shoot first orders.
Yeah.
Because they'll have to put the safety of everyone else first.
Exactly.
They're not sidekick, they can't see through walls or doors, so.
It really just, I don't know. This is that whole thing, right? Where I constantly talk about how shitty gamers are. Like, I mean, you'd think finally they'd be getting a little bit better of knowing all this stuff going on. Especially after we just had, like, a tragic shooting happen a week ago. and we're already trying to have worse things happen. I mean, people are dumb.
Just go ahead and doing this. It's stupid. It's irresponsible and dangerous.
Yeah, it you know, it makes people not want to stream and not want to do that stuff anymore because they have to worry about it. I mean, like, I just don't understand why people, if you don't like a streamer or you don't, or you know, you want to mess with them, do something that doesn't involve their life. Like the one shooting Dr. Disrespect or whatever, who had someone shoot at his house.
Like,
and I mean, it was found out to be a BB gun, but like, you don't know because he'd been shot at his house before. And in the middle of streaming, have to like worry about, you know, your family with someone shooting at your house.
Yeah, like, am I actually in danger here?
Yeah.
You have to consider those things just because you're streaming.
It's like, I don't know, people need to really stop and realize that, like, this isn't... these people are real people. They're not just, you know, out there, like, personalities that don't have their own lives and don't exist outside of streaming and stuff like that.
They exist outside of your screen. Like, they have family and friends, and they have things that they care about and worry about.
Yeah. So let's try not to do stuff that's going to get them, I don't know, get them killed.
Yeah. And if you're going to be a douche about it and you're going to do it anyways because you're a terrible, terrible person, at least try to avoid doing it to kids.
I mean...
Like, he was 16. Like, luckily, it was a much calmer situation because he was well known. But imagine being 16 and your door being kicked down.
Yeah, your door being kicked down and you being held down to the ground and you
have no idea what's going on. That would be terrifying.
Could ruin the rest of your life. You would never... You could literally walk out of that with, like, terrible anxiety now.
Yeah.
It's just... It was dumb. I mean, like, don't do it. Don't SWAT. You're stupid if you SWAT. There's no reason to. First of all, finding out someone's information and figuring out where they live so that you can go SWAT them as well is creepy in its own right. And you're a creeper and you're a weirdo and you should feel bad about yourself for even thinking about doing something like that. But then to go, like, okay, just DDoS somebody. What happened to those days? Just like, you know, like,
just crash their stream.
Like, I'd rather, like, even though it's still just as bad, I'd rather you just dox them and, like, give information about them or something else, but, like...
Or don't create, like, fake accounts and just put copy pastas in their chat all day.
Yeah, but don't do something that's potentially ruin their lives or end it. It's just, I don't know, it's stupid.
It's dumb.
Whoever did that, you should feel bad about yourself. There's reasons why people look at us like shit, and this is another reason of why. It's because people like you who like to hurt others for no reason. And I hope that you fall off a cliff.
Nice.
Now, when we're talking about someone coming in and getting swatted and potentially getting, you know, beat up or shot, right? Well, speaking of guns and video games.
Good segue.
No, in all honesty, so after the you know, the stuff going out after the shooting about how the internet and violent video games are the reason why this is happening, even though it's been disproven, we had a big conversation on this.
Minecraft makes me a killer, Cody.
Listen, I can't say that video games make me violent because I've had to restart entire playthroughs of a game because I said something to a character that made them feel bad.
Yeah, I've done that. I'm playing like Dragon Age or Mass Effect or something, and I say something, someone gets upset, it's like, no.
Or you accidentally kill someone that you didn't mean to, and you're like, no, restart.
And you don't have a save nearby, so you have to go back like 5 hours.
Yeah, like, you know, whatever. You want to say that, whatever. Well, I guess Walmart decided to just follow what anybody was saying, and they completely took down, so that there was a little mishap. They reported incorrectly at first because someone was asking them, because they thought that a news agency thought that they were removing violent video games.
Like, full stop.
But what was actually happening is Walmart removed violent video game signage and demos and anything that was like related in promoting it.
The promotion stuff.
The promotion of violent video games.
Like, you know, when you walk into your store, like, say, recently you'll go into your store and there'll be, like, a nice big poster of the new design of Captain Price for the Modern Warfare reboot. That's been took down because he's holding a gun.
And it's violent imagery, and they don't want to show that stuff. Apparently the retailer asked employees to take down signage and playable demos for violent video games, as well as hunting videos, in the wake of shootings at two of its stores. Well, let's be honest here. okay, Walmart's doing this, right? Because they don't want a kid to walk by and see a violent video game of someone with a gun and being like, oh, I like guns, I want to shoot.
I want one.
Even though, literally, and this, I know the layouts of most Walmarts, right? They have, like, specific layouts for most of them that are pretty similar. If you go 4 or 5 aisles away from the electronic video game section, there are rifles there, and guns there, and machetes there.
Real guns.
Like, real guns. So, yes, Walmart removed these violent video game signages, demos, and ads, and they were like, yeah, no, this is completely, I mean, we don't, in wake of the violent shooting, we want to do this to try and, like, get rid of aggressive behavior, but then they still sold guns.
I kind of hear it in my head, it's like, you know, like the PA announcements, where it's like, due to recent events, we are taking down all advertisements and demos of violent video games. In other news, 50% off all rifles over the .22 caliber line.
It's like, it's actually nuts. It actually makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Like, if you're going to try and, draw parallels to violence and video games in of itself, then how are you not going to draw the comparison to... Because if this is what constitutes it, right? So this is my thought process, is if violent video games and stuff like that are one of the biggest reasons of violence promotion, which it's not, I'm just saying, let's say it is. Hypothetically speaking. And so seeing these characters run around with guns, these fake characters, and not being able to differentiate between, let's just say you can't differentiate between real and fake, and you see these people walking around with fake guns, shooting fake bullets at fake people, okay? So that's the violent, or not even that, because in most of the signage, you don't see people getting shot. They don't put that up because they don't want that violence of stuff.
It's usually just some grisly-looking character making an edgy pose.
So let's just say that's the case, right? Are you telling me, though, then, that people walking down from that, if they see that, it's bad for them, but people walking down a few aisles and getting to the gun aisle isn't going to elicit the same response?
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's kind of like, right, I have a real knife and a picture of a knife. I'm going to ban the picture of the knife because people could see this and get violent ideas. Yeah. But I'm not going to ban the knife.
And I mean, and on the studies that people have talked about relating to video games and violence, like, there's been people that, conduct these studies that, were interviewed and grilled and came out and admitted that, violence, the small parallels that they were able to somehow, find towards, not violence, but aggressiveness related to video games. The video game didn't matter if it was violent or not. It's still, if it was, if it caused frustration,
in any way,
it could elicit, aggressiveness, and if it didn't cause frustration, it had a lack of aggression towards it, and that it would elicit the same amount of aggression if you showed somebody a picture of someone holding a gun, if you showed someone a picture of a gun, you showed them an actual gun, or if you showed them a person with an angry face. You had the same amount of, the person had the same amount of aggressive feeling in their head. So, what you're telling me that they did is they did nothing because you just took away one thing and didn't take away the other. It's like saying, oh, look at this. Sugar causes diabetes. So they remove all sugar from stores, all packs of sugar from the stores, and they get away all sugar, and they're like, you can't have it anymore. But then they still sell soda and candy bars.
Yeah, that's kind of the mentality.
Okay, you're getting rid of
one thing
that's
isn't even directly connected to the issue.
Exactly, because sugar itself doesn't cause
diabetes.
The issue
isn't the bag of sugar.
No.
It's the sugar in other items.
That people don't correlate to sugar. You wouldn't eat a bag of sugar.
No.
Right? I wouldn't take...
Well, some people would, I probably guess.
I wouldn't buy a violent video game in hopes to kill someone in real life.
No.
But I would eat a candy bar continuously and not think about the consequences and then end up getting diabetes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From it. I mean, I would buy a gun if I was attempting to do something violent. Would I not?
Yeah.
If I want to do something violent with the gun, I would need to buy a gun.
You'd need a gun in the first place.
So...
If you want to buy a violent video game, you probably, just want to sit at home, really.
Yeah, and just like
you don't want to leave the house. I think that's the whole point of it.
To be honest, with most games, I don't look at the brutality of it and feel like I wanted the game for that.
No.
One exception, Mortal Kombat. Like you like that because it looks violent and it's cool and it's a fighting game. But at the end of the day, though, if it didn't have that, I've played the Mortal Kombats where blood wasn't in it and where violence wasn't in it, and it showed no blood and it just showed like moderate violence. So like, come on. It's just you're if you're going to try and take away something because you say it, then take away the other thing that's directly correlated to it as well. So
it's very much we're going to ban the picture, but not the item.
Yeah,
it's like you can see the real thing, but not a picture of it, because that's bad.
In relation to that, ESPN decided to delay their video game telecast after the U.S. mass shooting, and it was of the Apex Legends, one of the league stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much what ended up happening was instead of broadcasting this on ESPN, which I think it was mostly just highlight reels and stuff like that. I think they planned initially that they were going to do the full thing.
Yeah.
And then they said, we'll just do highlight reels, and then they just decided to scrap it all together.
Yeah. It very much went, okay, a whole thing, then down to highlight reels, and then down to nothing.
And so what happened was Apex Legends, a game that, is still relatively new in the game community in terms of Battle Royale especially, it's still relatively new. And they're trying to get, competitions and stuff out there to get more popular, to have the competitive scene, the E-Leagues, be, have it be part of that scene more. Yeah. Well, it could have got a chance at Spotlight.
A huge chance at Spotlight. On ESPN would be massive. On
ESPN, but it got taken off from its planned broadcast because looking at somebody using poison, like little noxious gas tubes, and zip lining on lines in a fake world, in a desert world, and a robot walking around with guns,
with a smiley face,
and people and people teleporting, and people, that's just too too realistic.
Yeah,
it would be insensitive to have people go around shooting in a clear video game.
Yeah,
but
I've played a lot of Apex. Like, I was there when it launched.
Yeah.
I've been invested in it because it's like, oh, finally, something might kick Fortnite's ass someday.
That's arguably way better because it also invests into the team aspect of the game.
It's definitely more fun, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, by no means would it be realistic in any way. None of the guns look like real guns.
I mean, like, you could say the gunplay is really good and feels really nice, but guess what? I mean... What does that have to
Just because it feels good and nice, that's like, yeah, good game development.
Yeah.
It's not going to make me want to shoot people, because it's like, oh, I wonder if it feels this good in real life.
And I mean, if they did it because they thought it was insensitive in some way, I mean, you still have to remember, this is a video game, and it has nothing related to what happened, because this is like a war, in a way, like, of stuff that's going out. And you show images of people walking around in wars all the time.
Like, that's never an issue.
No.
Showing footage after there's been a shooting. Like, they probably, on news channels.
Yeah, of course they do. They show the area. They show the people crying. They
do, like, walkthroughs. That's like, play, like, the sad music, and there's someone commentating over, and it's just like, oh, look at this horrible, horrible thing that's happened. We're doing this so we'll get more viewership. But we're not going to show you a video game because that's a little bit too close to home.
It's just, if you relate it right back to, like, just like, I mean, there's not much to say except for just relate it right back to the last topic that we kind of talked about, or I guess the same topic, but just like a little bit before, the Walmart stuff. You can tie it right into that and say, where do you draw the line between reality and, what's fake?
Yeah.
We apologize. Everything just blew up.
Not even joking.
Everything there's almost a terrible explosion and fire in the house that we had to make sure was taken care of before we continued. Everything is fine now. Anyways, ending thoughts on what we were talking about.
Yeah. Just last thing, ESPN did say that they're going to show it on ESPN2, I think, in October.
Yeah.
The footage that they were going to show. And it will be available on their digital apps and things like that. But they're pulling it from their their main showings. They're not going to show on the main channel.
Which sucks, but, I mean, fair enough. At least they're still going to show it, and I respect them being able to...
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to give the people that have no idea what's going on a little bit of like, all right, we don't feel like listening to them.
They're trying to cover all grounds with it, really.
Yeah, so, at least they're still going to put it out there, but I really wish that people would stop worrying about that sort of stuff so much. But whatever.
Each to their own. But onto something that we should worry about.
We should worry about?
We should worry about.
Yeah.
Because we're going back to it once again. It's not G2A, but loot boxes.
Woo! Everybody loves them loot boxes.
The old favourite. The thing that we should all be scared of.
This is some good news, though, right?
This is actually good news, technically.
Maybe not for good intentions, but good news.
Good news. Big companies like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo have come out and said that they are going to require loot boxes to have their odds disclosed. So the chances of getting certain items in it, the odds of it have to be open to everyone. And I believe I read somewhere as well that they said that that is a zero tolerance policy, that they're only going to allow loot boxes in their games if the developers completely disclose the odds of everything. So you have to do it now. A bunch of dev companies have come on and said, yeah, they're going to do that, they're going to do the same. Some even saying that they're going to try to take loot boxes out, like Epic Games.
Yeah, Epic Games did recently say they're going to try to remove all loot boxes on their platform, which this is obviously a stab at trying to appease the gamer community to like Epic more. But
yeah, no. Big companies like Take-Two, Bungie, Bethesda, Bandai Namco, Blizzard, Wizards of the Coast. I have no idea who they are. I'm sorry, but
Magic the Gathering creators.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
So they're gonna by 2020, even the core mechanic of Magic the Gathering and Magic the Gathering Arena, where you open up packs and get random cards, they're even talking about not taking out, but disclosing the odds. Which that's just fantastic. See, but I mean, like with Magic, it doesn't matter because you always have the same odds anyways. You always get 8 common cards or something like that, or 7 common cards, 2 uncommons, and 1 rare or mythic rare. Yeah. So you always had the same odds anyways. Yeah.
But one of the companies that has agreed to disclose the odds of their loot boxes in this new trend of trying to make loot boxes better if they can't get rid of them, is EA.
There we go.
Good old Electronic Arts have said that they're going to disclose all the odds along with all these other development companies.
Well, EA is they do development of some games.
Sometimes. They haven't in a good while.
They're a publisher, yeah.
They're more of a publisher now, but they said that they're going to, pretty much any game that they work with, they're going to disclose the odds of loot boxes, which is weird for them.
So let's talk about real quick the positives and like the good things about it, and the things that I guess you could say are negative or not that important.
Well, I think it's a pretty good change because I think it'll very much limit people overspending on loot boxes.
Yes.
Because a lot of people will look at loot boxes and be like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing this until I get it because I'm getting so close.
Yeah.
Whereas when they can look at the odds and go, oh, I have a 1 in 100 chance of getting this, I'm not going to waste my money.
Yeah. I think that, so yeah, you give the good points, and then I'll give what I think the drawbacks that could be. So for that specifically, the drawbacks to knowing the odds is, just because you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting something, or a 1 in 5 chance of getting something, doesn't mean that you're guaranteed in 5 chances that you're going to get it. It just means that that's what the average is.
Yeah.
So if you have a 1 in 5 chance, that might encourage someone to spend more money to get that. So, like,
sure, you
probably will get it around the 6th or 7th at the very least, because if it's going to average out, it has to average out to 1 in 5. But that means that could potentially make it so people go, oh, I have a 1 in 10 chance of getting that. I should spend the money to get that now, because now I know that I can totally get it in a feasible amount of time.
Yeah.
So it may stop them from going for the ones that are 1 in 100, but then the ones that are a little less common, it might promote them to want to buy more because they know that what the odds are.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think that, though, even though they might still do that, it'll mean less loot boxes being bought in general anyways.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people will do that for the smaller number ones, which would still be a lot less than if they were trying to get the higher number ones.
And that's true, but it's also gamblers don't care about what the odds are.
There's always going to be those people.
Yeah, there's odds on the back of scratch cards that no one knows about because no one cares.
No one really gives a crap about it because it's like, oh, let's just do it anyways.
So like you're still gonna have the people that do it, but there is a positive to that point in that it theoretically should make people not want to buy stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of putting loot boxes more on the back burner. A lot of companies are leaning heavily on them there for a while, especially EA.
Right.
But doing this, it means they'll have to pull off a little bit. They won't be able to push them as hard. Because the gimmick of them won't be as gimmicky. It's supposed to be completely random. But when you already know the odds, it's not random. You're just going, oh, if I open 5, I have an average chance of getting this item, so let's just open 5.
Right. I think what could also happen is, for certain ones that, maybe if they didn't have this odd, they'd make it a 1 in 1,000 chance to get it. They're probably going to cut back so that way it doesn't look so abusive. Like instead of a big thing they'll probably be is like, instead of making it 1 in 1,000, let's make it like 1 in 500. So it's still harder to get, but we don't look like complete jerks.
Yeah, they'll probably cheat, especially
so
EA.
there is a positive there.
Yeah.
But then the other thing that I think when you look at it as a whole though, the reason why them doing this, I wouldn't see it as a complete them doing out of goodwill. It's for the simple fact that this still doesn't hurt them with what they're doing at all. No. Whether people buy less or more, or it stays the same, or anything like that, them showing you the odds, that's just their way of saying, look at how good we're doing. We're showing you odds, but they're still going to have, most of them are still going to have them in there, and they're still going to try and convince you to buy them.
Oh, yeah.
They're just gonna, maybe instead of having 100 characters in something, and you having ridiculous odds to get some of them, they're going to have 500 characters, so you have to do it more to get them.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well, that it could be a case, like, oh, I might have a 1 in 5 chance to get this item, but there's also 20 other items I have a 1 in 5 chance of getting.
So now it's going to be a quantity over quality thing, where they're just going to, they could potentially just jam pack it full of more things. So that way, okay, it's not a 1 in 1,000 for this person, but now there's 2 1 in 500s, which means the chance of you getting them is the same.
Yeah, doesn't change. Yeah, it could be like that. I see EA doing that specifically.
Yeah.
It seems like the rest of the companies are very much trying to do it in such a way that's like, okay, this is kind of shitty, we're going to do better here. Like that, Microsoft, Sony,
we still want money, but
Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo are the ones, they're the flagship companies of this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you look at those, it's like, okay, they themselves aren't relying on loot boxes.
Yeah.
Those companies themselves don't give a crap. Like, Nintendo has made every lick of money off the Switch, probably. And that's all they've needed. Microsoft and Sony, I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 4 passed like 100 million units sold there recently.
Well, I mean, yes, they're selling a lot, but you have to remember the hardware sales, you don't make too much money on it. They make their money because after they sell all that, some people buy at least one game.
Yeah.
If you buy a Nintendo Switch, you buy at least one game with it. Yeah. So they're making
you can't buy consoles by themselves anymore.
No,
like
you really can't.
You go to buy an Xbox One, you get it with like, oh, here's it with the new Halo or Forza or something like that. You get it with a game, and that's how they make their money. So when they say like, oh, 100 million units sold, I think of that in the sense, okay, that's at least 100 million games sold.
Yeah.
At least. Some bundles will have 2 games in it. Yeah. Some would have a game and 2 controllers and stuff like that. So they don't need loot boxes. They don't require them.
No, the companies, the developers and the publishers are the ones that get most of the money. Like, this is why Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft don't care. Because they don't get money for most of their stuff. Like, first of all, Nintendo hardly has any things that they've developed that have loot box,
a
loot box mechanic.
They don't tend to monetize their games like that.
Sony has Nintendo just like charges you for like DLC out the ass. We'll say that for sure, but it's usually fair price. It's just there's always a lot of DLC.
Yeah.
So like they released Fire Emblem. There's like 14 different DLCs that are like in connection to it.
Yeah, but the price is like, okay, that's a reasonable price for what I'm getting.
And it's a one-time thing, and it's not a random thing. Sony has some games that they've, released that might have a little bit of loop, but most of all, they're not that bad. Microsoft, I think, is probably the biggest offender, but even they don't have that many.
No.
With their own,
the Microsoft published games, like their stuff, their first-party stuff, very little.
Yeah, them
stuff
themselves. It's very little. It's just, so, I mean, to them, they're not losing anything.
No.
It's the publishers that do. So
Which I think is a good thing, because it'll kind of force the publishers to follow suit with that attitude, even if they don't believe it themselves.
Yeah.
That's how they'll have to promote it, which will have a ripple effect. It's like, even though we're not going to like truly believe it ourselves, we're going to openly say this. So we may as well be thinking ourselves at that point.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we think, really.
It's cool because, you know, at this point you had so many people that used to give shit when they would release a bunch of DLC stuff, but at least it was full content and you knew it was going to get. I'd rather go back to those days any day of the week. The people complaining about that were just people that like to complain, because, I mean, maybe they did take a chunk of the game off so that they could sell it to you, but 9 times out of 10, that game was a full game in of itself anyways.
Yeah.
So it didn't need that part. It was just something that would have, they could have released with it. I'll take that back any day of the week over
It's more like deleted content. It's like, okay, we were going to have this in the game, but we cut it because time restraints and budget and stuff
or because
like that.
we wanted money. Fine. If that's the case, I don't care. At least, though, the game itself was complete, and that's an additional.
Yeah, like, am I buying something that's a reasonable price and is good content? Good. I don't care after that.
Or DLC cosmetics. You can have those in a game all day for people to pay money, because guess what?
They don't.
I will buy them, and even if they did you bought a gun or whatever like that, at least it's individual to itself, and if it's not something that's multiplayer pay to win, it's just literally like something different or a single player, then I don't care. You want to buy Geralt a cool sword or something like that, or a ponytail that he can shake around and it looks way awesome than anything else. Fine, I don't care. It doesn't affect anything except for like that itself. Yeah. And if you want, you don't have to buy that. Whereas like when it comes to loot box stuff, sometimes you need to get certain things, and sometimes it's just cosmetics, and then other times it's things that can be very important. So I'm fine with going away from the loot box if you have to disclose odds. And if they have to disclose odds and they have to make the odds better because the odds are terrible right now and they don't want to show that, well then they're eventually just going to be like, well then why even have loot boxes? Let's just go back to DLC.
That's what I'm thinking, which will be good. I'd rather, just buy cosmetics straight up than rather like loot boxes. But a game that actually has microtransactions in it, that was all the controversy about a while ago, was Borderlands, if you remember.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have loot boxes.
Like at E3, it's like, we have no loot boxes, no microtransactions. And then they're like, well, you can buy cosmetics, though.
That's a microtransaction. What was that? What was his name? What's the name of the creator? Like, he's a dick. He's a super dick.
The CEO of Gearbox.
Yeah, the CEO of Gearbox. I
can't remember his name.
He's just he's a jerk.
He's a massive dickhead.
And he's definitely the type of person that would say no microtransactions and be like, oh well, I meant obviously there's cosmetics. We had those in past games. You guys are just not understanding. And it's like, you're gonna blame the people for you misspoke. Even if you misspoke, you're gonna blame everyone else and say that they're wrong.
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
They had that controversy, but what happened here?
Second bout of controversy with Borderlands. Great.
At least second.
And this one's juicy.
It's actually probably the third if you think about it.
Yeah.
With microtransactions and then the Claptrap voice actor.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this will be the third. There's probably another one in there that we have forgotten. Before. But a YouTuber by the name of Submato has blown up in the past few months. Ever since the Borderlands train got a rolling for 3, he blew up because he was pretty much leading the leaks. If something was leaked, it was probably he was the first one to release it, and he got really big because of it, having 1,000 subscribers, and he was just pretty small before that. But he came out recently and said that 2 private investigators showed up to his home to ask about his Borderlands stuff. And they were sent by Take-Two Interactive, which is the parent company of 2K and Rockstar, and they're the ones who were publishing Borderlands 3, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. They published
2K?
2K?
Yeah, 2K.
Yeah, they're publishing it. They're publishing it, and they sent private investigators to his house. Submato very much made it out like he was like kind of strong-armed by them, like it was an intimidation tactic, which it probably was. And he came out and said that there was no like crafty workaround or anything that he did, and that it was just what he did was fair. That he found leaks, reported on them, that it was all well and good. So for a while people are like, oh, 2K are seeming a bit shitty now, with everything else that's been going on with Borderlands. It's kind of like, oh, you're not surprised. Gearbox's CEO is a bit of a dick as well, so... And
so there was a hashtag created, hashtag boycott Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Which is not the first time that's been out.
No. But 2K have actually came out and made a statement. Obviously, they can't release any documents or transcripts or anything like that because they said this is going to be a legal case if it progresses.
Yeah.
So they're not releasing anything, but they have came out and released some stuff. And they pretty much said that the way he got the leaks was when they did their announcement streams on Twitch, they'd do 5 or 6 private streams just to make sure mics work, that the game works, that it looks good. And
Right.
so the stream doesn't mess up when you're revealing something new, pretty much.
Yeah.
And these would be done months before the actual announcement. But pretty much he found a way to get into these private streams. Now, he couldn't watch the streams themselves because obviously his viewer count would pop up on their screen.
Yeah.
But instead, he could see the full list, second to second, thumbnail previews that Twitch generates. Because, you know, the way you get like a little preview of what's going on at the stream at that moment. He could see all of those, and he pretty much got them all, blew them up, pieced them all together, and pretty much got a slideshow of all the announcements months before they came out.
Right. So it's thumbnail previews, which you get to see second by second, like certain sections of it.
Yeah, like if you keep refreshing it, it's a new thumbnail each time because the streams progress.
So basically, hover over it, see the second by second preview. Yeah. Once you get all of that, refresh it, look at it again, and you can pretty much in a shitty way, but it's still a way, watch an entire stream and get whatever you want from that. So
something out coming out and someone saying like, "Oh, there was nothing crafty about it." It's actually really crafty. It's actually really sneaky, but apparently gets worse for him. Take-Two said that the legal part comes into it where he was offering $5 membership. You know, the way you can join on YouTube channels?
Yeah.
It's like for $5 you'd be added to a Discord and he would reveal how to do it.
Yeah.
And he'd show you all the stuff that he's gathered, not just the stuff that he's posted online. So pretty much you'd see everything he'd see. And he was pretty much sharing that for a price, which makes it illegal.
So, yeah, and so what ended up happening was a 2K representative was like, pretty much, the information he's sharing about the situation is incomplete and in some cases untrue. Not only were many of his actions illegal, but they were negatively impacting the experience of other content creators and our fans in anticipation for the game. So pretty much, the reason, like, one of the biggest things is with him selling that stuff on Discord, is it was actually selling, promoting, and distributing cheats, hacks, or cracked accounts in a way.
Yeah.
Because he was giving people ways to do something illegal.
Yeah.
Which, and it wasn't just, so this is the thing is, there are some Discords for like stuff like bots in certain games, and you can get away with having those because it's a term of service for the game, so you can lose access to the game, but it's not necessarily it's not illegal in of itself.
Yeah.
But when it comes to something like this is illegally finding ways to access backdoors and securities for a website and then selling information to access that.
Yeah.
That is illegal.
That is 100%
That's not just
illegal.
like a term of service of a company. That's like a legal sort of thing.
And it's like, then people are still going, oh, well, why did 2K still send like 2 private investigators to his house? That seems a bit much. It's like, you still have to remember they're a publishing company. They don't have internal affairs or security to do it for them. When they need to follow something like this, the only way they can do it is by hiring private investigators to find out who he is. Because they'd only know him by his YouTube channel,
right,
his Twitch channel and stuff like that. So if they wanted to actually find him to converse with him and not just DM him on Twitch or YouTube, they'd have to send someone.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way.
It's a given. Like,
there's no other way you're going to get it. And I mean, private investigators have access to so many different like avenues to be able to kind of just find out certain things, and they just also have too much time on their hands.
Yeah, pretty much.
Private investigators kind of do illegal things in their own right.
Yeah,
think about it. So it's kind of it's like, but anyways, what it basically at this time, 2K and Take-Two are not pursuing legal action against Submotto based on what they've seen, but the incident is part of a larger and ongoing investigation by 2K and Take-Two over Borderlands 3 trade secrets. So it sounds to me like they're not going to actually go into full legal action, but they're going to basically force him to prevent him from being able to do much of anything related to it anymore, and he's probably going to lose all of his accounts.
I'm pretty sure he already has. I'm pretty sure
he lost his Discord. I know that.
Discord is gone. I'm pretty sure his Twitch was took down, and I'm pretty sure his YouTube channel has been suspended.
Yeah,
because obviously it's become a legal matter, so all of these companies have stepped in.
We have attempted to reach out to Submato for this story, but were unable to find an available contact method on his YouTube channel, and both his Twitter and Discord servers are down.
Yeah. He took down his Twitter himself. Twitter didn't do that. They came out and were like, yeah, no, that wasn't us. That was him. So after this happened, he deleted his own Twitter.
Yeah.
But another thing, 2K came out and said that they really didn't want to do it. In the little statement that they released, they're like, clearly Submoto is he's a Borderlands superfan.
Right.
And leaks are something that happen and you can't stop leaks. They happen. But they're like, but the scale this is happening and how he's doing it, it's something that we can't ignore. We don't want to do this to a superfan, but
you sometimes...
You kind of forced our hand.
Yeah. Like, sorry, you can't do really, really shitty things just because you're a fan.
Yeah. So it's like, on one hand, they're doing this, but then they're like, we don't want to do it, man.
Yeah, like, you just shouldn't have done that.
You could have just, like, promoted the hell out of the game. You could have talked about the game. Like, we love the fact you love the game. But you're being a little bit of a douche now.
Yeah, you're doing a little too much, and we can't handle. So, on topic of people being douches... So
good segue.
There's a game that's was getting some good press. I think it's like an alpha or beta. It's something that's not fully out yet, called Ooblets. And what Ooblets is basically kind of it's like a little bit of a farming / collector, like Pokemon sort of collectathon game.
I've seen someone describe it as a cross between Pokemon and Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it's a lot about like you pretty much you like have some sort of farmland or something that you take care of, and then you collect these like monsters that can help you take care of stuff, and then also you farm and raise them so you can grow them. It's weird. It's a really weird thing, but it's gotten good a lot of good press to it because it like people were like, this is very interesting. I like it. It's odd, but it's cool.
And I'm pretty sure the development heads are a husband and wife team.
Yeah, and it's got a cool thing behind it. I mean, like, they're indie developers. They've got like it's a cool team of a husband and wife, and like I think maybe a couple of other like small people, but not anything. It's mostly just a husband and wife focusing on this, doing this, getting stuff out there. And basically what ended up happening was they decided, after like things were going so good, they were like, all right, we did a thing, the blog post says. And it says, so, I'll do a quick read what they posted on July 31st. Everyone kept talking about this Epic thing, so we thought we'd see what it's all about. Here's what these Epic folks are doing. First, they teach every kid in the world these obnoxious dances, and now they're offering funding to game developers in exchange for PC exclusivity on their game store. This is exactly what Marx warned us about. Just imagine if other companies got in their head to offer funding in exchange for exclusive. What would be next? Game consoles paying for games to be exclusive on their consoles? Netflix paying for exclusive shows? Newspapers paying for exclusive articles? It's got to be some sort of late capitalist dystopia. Okay, so goofing aside, yes, we signed with Epic for PC launch exclusivity. It's incredible news for us, and I'm hoping you can excite it too. Now, if you skip ahead here a little bit, what it's saying is Ooblets will be launching on PC through EGS, Epic Game Stores. We won't be selling the game on other PC stores for a pretty long while. We'll still be launching on the Xbox One. The exclusivity is just limited to PC, and we got some cash money up front from the deal so we can make the game that we always wanted to with fewer compromises. So pretty much, what it came down to is they said we're going to be on Epic. There was a little bit of like smarminess to it. They were kind of like, but that's, it seems like that's what Ooblets is kind of about, is they kind of joke around a bit a lot.
It's like super casual. They don't act like there's some developer telling you some great information. It's like your mate is telling you what they're doing kind of thing. Yeah,
so they're saying like, okay, yes, we're joining Epic. Don't freak out. We're getting help for our game from doing this, so just probably don't be that mad at us. We're like it's really not that big of a deal. They pretty much go on down the road and say like Epic is good for the game developer community, especially indie developers. It's not that frustrating to download something, especially considering most of you already have it downloaded for Fortnite, and it's not worth getting mad at us for it when we're trying to better ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, what ended up happening because of this was a lot of people who hate Epic pretty much saw this and were like, grr, we're mad, and how dare they be sarcastic and make it seem like they're better than us and blah, 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 blah. And they were like, let's just go on out and just start bashing the shit out of this game and bashing the shit out of the people that are developing it. and let's start spreading very false rumors and misinformation as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard about this, Kyle, but along with the creators, like the developers, you know, this husband and wife duo, and anybody working on it, as well with them getting called horrible stuff, including racist things, because I think the guy is Jewish, and he had, this is where we get into false information, but I'll just say there's a lot of racist stuff going on, a lot of homophobic slurs, death threats, violence, rape, suicide, and all that stuff, as well as having all this stuff thrown at them. They had a lot of misinformation related to it being distributed. So they put this stuff out. They said, we're going to be on Epic. A lot of people were complaining and upset. Fine, because some people have problems with Epic. We all know this. Instead of those people just kind of leaving and being like, you know, fine, we don't want to support this game anymore or whatever, they went on a rampage and said, like, terrible things to these people.
Yeah.
That's one thing. People always say terrible things, and it's definitely not necessary.
Especially when it comes to the Epic Game Store. It's like people are always, you know, they get a little bit too aggravated.
And like, that part in of itself should stop, but it could have stopped there and just like after a couple of days of rage went on.
Yeah.
Well, instead, what started happening was a few angry people started creating fake screenshots of the developers saying things that they never said that were horrible and super offensive. Like, one of them tried to say that they created something making it sound like the husband said, "I hope all these people get a gas chamber."
Yeah.
Making it like a horrible, like, racist remark towards Jews.
Yeah, because, just to clarify, the dev company for Ublitz do have a Discord.
Yes.
And they do let people into that Discord to talk about the game, and they share news in this Discord. It's a very open kind of process. So that's where all of these tend to be coming from, because all these angry people have actually been having conversations with the developers, with Ben and Rebecca, I think their names are. So that's where all of these are coming from. So that's obviously where they're doctoring messages to make it look like
so they're doctoring things on Discord, which is really easy to do, in case anybody didn't know.
Oh, it's super easy.
If you have a basic Photoshop skill and also just know how to Google search how to do something real quick, it's super, super easy. And so they said stuff like, you know, made it sound like the guy said something about people need the gas chamber, even though, what is his name, Robert, is Jewish, and so he would never say something that would be that offensive and disrespectful towards his own, that, like, something that affected his own people. Something also along the lines of someone was like, "Oh, I have something going on in my life. It's really sad. Like, someone's died, or someone has like a horrible condition."
Oh yeah, I seen that. It was like a single parent from some country, and like, "Oh, we can't afford to buy this game for their son," and then they doctor it so it looked like the devs gave like a really horrible response.
Yeah, something along the lines of saying like, "Oh, it doesn't matter how terrible your situation is, and like we don't owe you shit," or something like that. Even though he never said that as well. All doctored, because he actually went to Discord and asked them to disprove it, and all the doctored images were disproved by Discord, saying, "No, these are all fake. We'll actually help him out because this is some really shitty stuff that's going on."
Yeah, it's atrocious.
So they created they fabricated stories to make the people look bad, so that way people wouldn't want to buy their game.
Yeah.
They also gave real quick, I mean, trigger warning for anybody that doesn't want to hear some of this stuff, but like, I mean, this is just the seriousness of the situation. Just a couple of the messages we can read real quick. I really hope you and your horror of a wife off yourselves after your game flops. It makes a lot of sense that you shoved your head in Epic's ass for a few extra bucks after finding out you're a Jew.
Yeah.
Like swallow bleach. Who seeks Patreon support then goes to Epic. Have fun with the 3 people that will play this abomination of a game. If I see you on the streets, you are going to have your face smashed in as a wake up call, Mr. Entitled. Like, I don't even want to say.
Like some of these, like, you wouldn't want to say just because the stuff that's in them is it's too much. Like, when it comes to stuff like this, it's very much, it's the reality of it. If it's what's said, you should be allowed to show and repeat what's said just to show how real it is. But some of these things are stuff that you just, no person should say in any situation, really.
It's this comes down to just what I say every single time the podcast happens, and I'm sorry for the people that aren't included in this, but like, the gaming community is toxic, and these people that but the thing is we allow it to happen. People like, you know, the reason why these people are proliferate and are exist and are able to do this sort of thing is because people like me and Kyle, like not that we do it, but people like us, you know, that are just like the ones that are a little bit more sensible, instead of actually like saying to these people, like, don't say that, like, don't listen to them, like, let's report them, instead of doing that, we just sit there and like kind of like laugh and go, haha, that's terrible, and then we scroll on and go to the next thing, and we allow it to proliferate and keep going because freedom of speech or whatever, even though the stuff that's being said is horrible. Yeah. And the stuff that like our community, some of the worst things that I've ever heard of have come from the gaming community. Yeah, I've been told to do things to myself for not playing a game well.
Oh yeah.
That not even the opposite of me on a political spectrum that I've heard from people have said to me that I like whether I think that they're right or wrong, they haven't even said something like that to me.
Like, there's people in real life that, like, you know, we all have our enemies.
Yeah.
I have people in life who just don't like me whatsoever. And I've been called things online that they wouldn't even dream of calling me.
No.
That if they did, even though they don't like me, would say sorry.
And it's like
that shows you the scale it is. And the funny thing is, it says it here, I just noticed it. This article is wrote by, the one we're looking at here, is wrote by one of the developers, isn't it?
Yes, this is wrote by Robert, I believe.
He points out the fact that he pretty much calls the gaming community toxic. He said, I challenge anyone to be on the receiving end of this for a few minutes, hours, days, to not come to the conclusion that a huge segment of the broader gaming community is toxic. Which is true. But then the irony part is, people are upset that I've said that word. Now imagine getting offended by me using the word toxic in the content of what this group has been saying and doing to us.
But that's what it is.
So they're getting triggered because he's now calling them toxic, and you've seen the messages that they've just said. Cody read one of them out.
It's stupid. It's how dare these people say to him, you're so entitled, taking money from your Patreon, but then also taking money from Epic, even though they want to make this game for you and they're making it as good as possible, and they're doing something that does. At the end of the day, this affects you none. You can download it for free, the Epic Game Store, and you can use it no problem for free, and then you can pay for their game or however they're doing it, and you can play it. It affects you in the most minute of ways because you don't get a couple of features that you want. Some of the people that have issue, they're in their own right. They're messed up in their head. A lot of people are saying that Epic is they don't use Epic. It has nothing to do with because they don't want to use Epic's launcher, but because since Tencent owns shares. Yeah. And Tencent, it has like some ties to the Chinese government in some ways, just because they're a Chinese company. They have to have ties to the government in some way because that's how it works. That's how it works in China. And they're saying that so they're being racist in their own right and saying that the Chinese government is owning Epic Games and that's how they're in control. Even though Epic Games has came out and shown the statistics showing that there's nothing that allows them to own any sort of control over how they handle things or give any of their information away.
Like, they own a small part of it, and when it's such a big company like Epic, to be able to make any decision worthwhile, you have to hold a majority share. Just full stop, you have to hold a majority share, that's it.
And even then,
it has to go through a board.
And then even then, it's still illegal to funnel your information towards American consumers to any other government. That's illegal.
Exactly.
How does Epic get away with it?
There's so many different ways, and especially for a company like Epic that's, again, so big, and they're under such a spotlight at the moment. With, you know, the kid winning, you know, the Fortnite championship, and the blowing up of Fortnite, and the Epic Games Store, and all these different things. They've probably been investigated, and vetted, and checked, and by all of these different third-party companies. You'd know if there was something there, you would know by now.
You know what the issue is, though, when it comes to the Epic. Like, we all know it, and I feel like we said it before, but it's because people like Steam, and they don't want to change their thought process because it has some more stuff that Epic doesn't. And then there's people that just don't like Fortnite. I don't like Fortnite.
Yeah,
I don't want to play Fortnite. I mean, but I really, like, if there's a game I really want on Epic Game Store, then I would just play it.
It's like, I don't like Fortnite, but Epic as a dev studio,
I've done nothing to hurt me.
I do quite like. I think they're a pretty fun dev studio. Like, they give their creation teams like a fortnight off to make up for crunch times, and
they do.
Like, they used to make
wrong.
Gears of War, for Christ's sake. Like,
They do nothing wrong that elicits the response that they get. Especially when you consider all the shitty stuff that Steam has done, and you're still going to defend that.
Just look at their stupid summer sale competition, like that was just a mess.
That's just one thing. Look at the last games that they put out and the way they monetized it. Their card game that came out, and then they monetized the shit out of it, and then it did bad, and now they're just pretty much throwing it into oblivion and saying we don't care about it.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me that you hate Epic Game Studios because they're doing stuff bad, because the only thing that they have on them is that their app isn't as good as Steam in some rights.
Yeah,
and
they're not as well flushed out at the moment because again, it's still new.
And they're making, and then also I'll let you have that they're making exclusivity deals, and you don't like it when you can't buy things on your platform.
Yeah.
But guess what? They're also paying the developers way more of a cut so the developers can release more games. So those game studios
they're giving developers like a flat pay.
Yeah.
It's like, if you go exclusive, we're going to pay you flat.
Yes.
Like, Obelets, I think the deal they said has made it so that they've broke even.
Yeah.
Already. The game hasn't released, and all the money that they spent themselves, they've made back.
Yeah.
Already. Just for making that deal. Game isn't even out yet. And they're doing that to nearly every exclusive. And good old Sweeney Todd came out and said, exclusives will stop on the Epic Game Store when Steam changes their, what is it? The way they
they handle.
Yeah, the way they handle like devs getting money for their games. When they change that, when they make it more fair, then he'll stop.
Because the fact of the matter is that Steam hasn't been doing good for the developers for years. So like, you have this. This is what you have for Epic Game Stores. The negatives we've already talked about, just with exclusivity, whatever, and the app not being as good. For the positives, we just said one, which was the money that goes to developers. Then we talk about what they have done for the community in general. They've done a lot of stuff relating to like charity events and stuff like that.
They've done so much.
And making sure stuff gets out. They are trying to get more games out there in general that are different when it comes to indie developers as well. Not just big developers to get their money, but indie developers to get their fair cut. They've done so much. Like, they don't have ties to any other company because they're already so big, so they don't have ulterior motives. They don't need money.
Oh,
so
God, no.
It's not a matter of them requiring money to survive. They haven't done anything actually negative out there where there have been, the other companies that have. What are they doing that's so wrong that's an issue? When they're offering money to people, they're offering a platform for people to play on. They don't charge for the platform. They're getting stuff on there. They try their hardest to do whatever they can to benefit people. Like,
they're doing good work. Like, I'm very much pro Epic Game Store. I see what they're doing with getting the exclusives, and I feel like exclusives should be a thing of the past. But them doing it now and the way they're doing it, I think is the best way to kind of get, just Steam, there's no one really else. To look at the numbers, look at the way they're splitting the cash for the developers, these indie developers, even big developers, and make it better for them so there's actually some kind of worth there, an incentive. So it's not like this guy in his basement is putting his paycheck for the past year into this game, his blood, sweat, and tears into it, then a little bit of help from Patreon, make this game, release it, and just break even with it because Steam... Or flops because it didn't get enough promotion. Yeah, and Steam still takes like nearly half of everything anyways.
And I mean, Steam has, I would say, still definitely Valve in of itself has way more money than Epic Game Stores, has way more, so it needs the money even less if you want to take a look at it. And just over the years how much they've made, and they've done less and put out less and have cared less and take more. And they don't plan on ever changing their ways.
No.
What, you have Steam summer sales? That doesn't matter. They have that. They get that approved by the developers if they can even sell their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the developers decide if their games go on sale.
Like, you don't do anything. You haven't done anything for everyone. Like, Valve hasn't even given us Half-Life 3. What makes you think they don't know how to handle the number 3?
Yeah.
So, like, what have they done
Half-Life
that's
3,
good?
Left 4 Dead 3, Portal 3.
What have they done good? They have all this money and then they just sit on it.
Yeah.
That's all they do. So whatever anybody wants to say, or they release things that like they put this money into stuff that no one wants and doesn't do good. Like, look at the Steam box. Look at the Steam controller that no
God,
one cares
I forgot
about
that was a thing.
Like, look at the stuff that people don't even use and don't care about. Cool, Steam has features and stuff, but they've done nothing. Look at this stuff aside. When we get out of the topic of these, like, you know, apps that people use for their gaming and stuff like that, let's just go right back to what the main gist of it is whatever those people are supporting when it comes to like what app they use, especially when the app doesn't do it, like that isn't doing anything wrong, or those game studios or the publisher or whatever you want to call it of those games aren't doing anything wrong. Why are we sending death threats, rape threats, wishing terrible things to happen, doctoring images to try and tarnish the image of people?
Yeah,
because you know that it's their image isn't that bad just on its own thing of like,
yeah.
No one would care.
I was like, oh, they're good people. We have to make them look bad, so we have to go all out with this.
So like, it's not necessary. And like, can we please stop as internet users and as gamers? Stop doing this.
Yeah.
These are the same people though. These are the same people though that hate the cancel culture. Like if something comes out, like we find out that someone raped like 5 girls or like did some terrible crime, they're like, why is this cancel? Oh, I should be able to like whatever I want. Why are we canceling? But then they'll cancel anybody that has involvement with Epic Games. So what you mean is you don't like canceling people that you like that are just entertainers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But who have actually done something wrong.
They've actually, broke some kind of law.
But you dislike because of some conspiracy theorist and because you don't like to play your game on a different place. Just shut up. I'm tired of it, and it needs to stop. And I mean, you saying these things are the reason why people think that video games cause violence and why they think that these people are tragic. Like, despite us not even, just with how we talk, whether these people actually go out and do that in real life, they don't. They don't. They're just keyboard, warriors that are sitting there typing this shit out, but it's terrible.
Yeah. It's like, you complain about how, gamers are treated. You're the type of people that say that, oh, we're a minority, we're, bullied and impoverished in society.
And then look what you do to others.
And you complain about, video games being blamed for violence. You blame about things being cancelled because of, someone saying something offensive or doing something illegal. When in reality, you are the issue.
Yeah.
What you're complaining about isn't the issue. You are. Your response to it is the issue. You're
toxic. You're a cretin. Get over it. And you know what? I can say this because I'm part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we create, you know what I mean? Like, we're talking about this because we're part, we're the part of this. We're creating something that's based off of the stuff that we like to do.
Yeah.
And we can admit that there's faults in our community. And that's when you start to grow from it. And when we can call out the people that are doing it wrong, that's what matters. That's what's going to make changes. And that's what I think everybody needs to start doing, is start calling these people out on their shit and saying no. Stop turning a blind eye to it. Stop letting them say these terrible things and getting away with stuff just because they're mad about it. And start doing the right thing, reporting them, deleting them, kicking them. Don't invite them to things. Just tell them that they're wrong.
To exclude them.
Yes.
I might sound mean, but it's like what they're doing is so much worse.
Yeah. I mean, just stop dealing with them. I mean, it's just a real quick, related to that. I felt so bad because Brazilian gamers get a bad rap because of how they, in certain, MMOs and stuff like that, of how they act sometimes and stuff like that. And I was looking at the World of Warcraft Classic thing up, and, I looked at, how a Brazilian Discord, a group of Brazilian guilds that were planning on doing stuff, had to come out and say that they couldn't speak their own language and they couldn't talk certain things because they don't want other gamers to be upset, and they made it sound like they're the problem, that they're the ones that are all shitheads because they speak Spanish,
because they're speaking their native language,
and because they the certain ways that they act, and they know that people on English servers will be upset, and there's people in the comments on Reddit saying oh, good for them doing this stuff, being better people, and it's like,
they're not being better people.
You just it literally, you've actually gotten a few Brazilian people to feel like the reason that there's something wrong with it is because they're Brazilian.
Where's the goodness in that?
You're telling them that they can't act like that and they need to speak English when they're talking in general chat, and they need it.
It's yeah, I get it. When you're in a game and there's someone speaking a different language and you've no idea what they're saying, it can be annoying.
Or if someone's being an asshole and they happen to be Brazilian. But guess what? It's I encountered assholes of all different types.
Exactly. Just because you're in the same lobby scene, you're speaking a different language, I'm not going to tell you to speak English. If you're there playing with your mate and you are both speaking the same language, it's no different than me and my mate speaking English to each other if you can't understand us.
Some of the worst people that I've dealt with speak English, but also like if you want to get technical, some of the worst people that I've played with was when I played Counter-Strike Source, and how some of the people, and so many of them were French Canadian. Like white French Canadians.
Yeah.
And they were some of the most toxic people towards me. That doesn't mean that I think all French people need to start changing how they act. No, just because that's the majority that played that game at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what you saw.
It's a sample, not a complete representation.
Yeah. Like, it's so stupid that you're making, and it wasn't like I told them to stop speaking French, because like, it's just what it was.
Just let them on.
Like, it's like, just, I don't know.
And if you're one of those people that's been annoyed by like listening to us, that you're being distracted by,
mute them.
Just mute them.
Don't play with them.
That button's there for a reason.
Ignore them. Mute them. Don't do it. Listen, it just comes down to this simple fact: we're the toxic ones.
Oh yeah, gamers are assholes.
We're the toxic ones. Stop making it seem like everyone else is in the wrong, and let us we need to start taking like responsibility for the stuff that we do, and that's when we'll stop being so offended by certain things happening. When we'll have things stop, and that's when people stop looking at us and be like, "Oh, those guys are always assholes."
Yeah.
I mean, like, my wife won't even play League of Legends now because someone decided to shit talk her and call her out because she played for her 10th game that she's ever played of League of Legends and has never played a MOBA. She didn't do well, and so he decided to shit talk her. Now she'd never play the game again.
Yeah. No, it's bad.
Like, good job, guys. You're really bringing people into the fold.
Yeah. But I do want to say, though, like, the gaming community is very toxic, but not everyone is.
No.
I do want, because we have been shit talking them on this podcast, I do want to give credit to the good people out there.
The good gamers, the gamers that are actually, like, the ones that are positive and promote goodwill and try to do things good for everybody and try to get people to understand the gaming, for sure. You guys are out there, and you guys are helping so much.
You guys are the ones who should be on the forefront of the community. You should be the faces of what being a gamer is.
And let's put ourselves out there more because of that. Get yourself out there more and get that respect and recognition that you deserve for making people feel welcomed and making people feel happy for playing games, because that's what you should be.
Yeah.
When you are playing this content and you're watching or doing whatever related to the content that you enjoy, you should make other people want to be a part of it.
Yeah. It's like, shout out to, I was playing Red Dead Redemption last night. I was like, oh, a big update's coming later this month probably, so I'm gonna, play, grind up levels, stuff like that. I was playing some competitive multiplayer on it, pulled a clutch in a game, and just got a message off a guy that was like, good play, man, well done. And he was on the other team. And that's so rare for someone on the other team to, like, get fluked in the loss and then be like, good job, you actually did good.
Yeah.
Instead of getting, hate mail and told to go die.
Yeah.
It's like people like him should be the faces.
Yeah, it's always the bad ones that are the most vocal, right?
Oh yeah, because they shout the loudest.
Yeah, so, I mean, whatever. We know how things are, and we know it needs to change, and we can only hope that it will change. On that, though, that's all the topics we have this week.
That's all the topics, Cody.
That's all the topics we have this week. We hope you guys have enjoyed what you've heard so far on the last several podcasts now. I can say that.
God, we've been doing this for 7 weeks.
7 weeks. We're going on 2 months already.
Jesus.
We're going on 2 months already, and it's got plenty more to come. Please, if you want to follow us on any of our socials, check out The Geek Cause, at The Geek Cause on Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook. Join our Discord.
We have a Discord now. You can find links, like I said, down below. You can find it on any of our socials. We also have it up on there.
We'll be promoting the hell out of it. Follow Cody on Mixer.
Yeah, Mixer. Follow me, the Geek Cause -Cody. There'll be a thing for that there.
I'll get my own Mixer sorted so I can prove that I'm better.
And then the thing is also on Mixer you can do co-op streams and duo streams. So we actually can
do it.
We could do something. We could play some games together.
Play some Minecraft.
Yeah, oh man, I've been wanting to play Minecraft.
Play some Minecraft. That's crossplay.
So play some Minecraft. That's crossplay. I mean, like, let us know what you guys think, what you want to see. Just we want you guys to be involved as much as we want to be involved. So, thank you so much for listening to us.
You're the best.
We love you, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.